Princess Leonor is heir apparent to the Spanish throne. They told us royalty was predictable. That the story of kings and queens always followed the same script: duty, lineage, and destiny. But what if the next chapter of Spain's royal history was not about tradition, but transformation? What if the young girl once seen simply as the king's daughter has already begun to redefine what it means to rule? This is not just the story of Princess Leonor de Bourbon. This is the rise of a young woman stepping into the weight of history, not by chance, but by undeniable purpose. From the moment she was born on October 31, 2005, the world watched quietly. The firstborn of King Felipe VI and Queen Letizia, a child who would one day inherit one of Europe's oldest monarchies. But even then, whispers began: could Spain accept a queen regnant? Centuries of male succession, centuries of patriarchal expectation, rested on her small shoulders. Yet Leonor's story would soon prove, she was never meant to be ordinary. As she grew, the Spanish people saw something different. While others saw a shy girl behind palace walls, those close to her noticed the steel behind her smile. Leonor absorbed the quiet discipline of her father, King Felipe, the diplomat king who rebuilt Spain's image after years of turmoil. From her mother, Queen Letizia, she inherited precision, intellect, and an independent mind that refused to be ornamental. But perhaps what truly defined Leonor was not her royal training, it was her sense of responsibility. At just 13, she delivered her first public speech, on the anniversary of Spain's constitution. Her voice trembled slightly, but her eyes held steady. The nation listened, and many were stunned. They had not expected clarity. They had not expected power. And in that moment, Spain realized, their future queen had arrived. Behind palace gates, life was far from easy. Every word, every movement, every expression was dissected by the media. The daughter of a modern monarch and a commoner, Leonor bore the burden of two worlds colliding: royal expectation and democratic identity. Queen Letizia, ever protective, raised her daughters with the awareness that monarchy could only survive if it evolved. Leonor learned that her crown would not be inherited, it would have to be earned. Her education reflected this truth. Rather than being shielded in Madrid, she was sent to study at UWC Atlantic College in Wales, the same institution known as the School of Kings. There, she shared dorms with students from across the world, future leaders, thinkers, and activists. She learned humility, independence, and the value of silence. While others saw her as Princess Leonor, she preferred simply to be Leonor. She washed dishes, studied late, and quietly prepared for the life that awaited her, a life where every step would be scrutinized, yet every decision would define a nation. When she turned 18, everything changed. The day she swore allegiance to the Spanish Constitution, the chamber fell silent. Her voice, firm and deliberate, echoed through the hall, not just as a promise to her father, but to 47 million Spaniards. She swore to serve, to protect, and to lead. Cameras flashed. Applause erupted. For the first time in centuries, Spain looked at its future and saw a queen, not in waiting, but in training. That oath was more than ceremony. It was the moment Leonor ceased to be a girl and became history's next chapter. But beneath the grandeur, the pressure grew heavier. Rumors swirled about her private life, her friendships, her rumored suitors, her every gesture analyzed by tabloids across Europe. The Spanish press whispered about her growing influence, while others questioned if she was ready to lead a monarchy that had already survived scandal, skepticism, and a modern world increasingly uneasy with crowns. Still, Leonor remained calm. Her public appearances multiplied: visits to military academies, humanitarian events, and regional ceremonies across Spain. Each time, her poise sharpened, her confidence grew. It wasn't charisma alone, it was presence. A quiet strength that reminded many of her grandmother, Queen Sofia, and yet something more, something distinctly Leonor. When she entered the General Military Academy in Zaragoza, wearing her crisp uniform, Spain witnessed a symbolic transformation. The future queen, once dressed in silk and protocol, now stood among soldiers, her expression resolute, her purpose unshakable. She was not pretending. She was preparing. Leonor's time in the military was a masterclass in discipline and service. She learned command, endurance, and leadership, not through privilege but through participation. Her fellow cadets described her as humble, curious, and quietly driven. For the Spanish people, it was a rare glimpse of authenticity in a world too often staged. And in that authenticity lay her power. As her 19th year approached, whispers grew louder about the monarchy's future. King Felipe, dignified and measured, began to step back from certain roles. The world wondered, would Leonor soon begin her reign? Inside Zarzuela Palace, discussions turned toward modernization, sustainability, digital engagement, and national unity. Leonor's role was no longer ceremonial, it was strategic. But beyond politics and duty, there is the young woman, the daughter, the sister, the human behind the royal mask. Leonor shares a deep bond with her younger sister, Infanta Sofia, a relationship built on laughter and shared strength. Together, they symbolize the next generation of monarchy, educated, empathetic, and unafraid to question tradition. Behind closed doors, Queen Letitia's guidance remains constant. She reminds her daughters that the Spanish crown, though ancient, belongs not to the palace but to the people. King Felipe teaches them restraint, diplomacy, and patience. Their unity as a family is their silent weapon, a rare stability in a world of scandal and spectacle. Yet, what makes Leonor truly unique is not her title, but her timing. She ascends in an era when monarchies are questioned, when people demand transparency, relevance, and service. She must walk the fine line between tradition and transformation, to honor the crown, yet modernize its meaning. Her speeches reflect this evolution. She speaks not of power, but of responsibility. Not of privilege, but of service. She speaks of unity, education, and progress, words that resonate with a generation tired of formality and hungry for authenticity. And so, as the world watches, Princess Leonor's path unfolds, not as a story written in gold, but as a test of endurance, intelligence, and empathy. The question is no longer if she will rule, but how she will change the way we understand monarchy itself. Because Leonor de Bourbon is more than the heir apparent. She is the symbol of a Spain caught between its past and its promise, a bridge between history and hope. And one day, when she wears the crown of her ancestors, it will not be a relic of the past, but a reflection of a new era, an era led by a queen who was never meant to follow, but to lead. Princess Leonor, the future of Spain, not by bloodline alone, but by destiny fulfilled.